Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We got a really interesting request for this one, a deep dive into the impact of sports fandom.
Oh, wow.
And someone sent over this opinion piece with a very provocative title. Uh, we are not herd, we are human. Stop watching sport games.txt.
That's pretty blunt.
Yeah, it really is. And the author starts with their own journey, how they went from a huge sports fan to really questioning everything around age 24.
Yeah.
They really want us to think about the cost of our obsession, and not just the financial cost,
Right.
but the emotional cost and even the ethical
I
costs.
see.
And they don't just stop with their own experience. They go on to say that the whole sports industry is built on what they call, quote, a degenerate model,
Wow.
a
Yeah.
system designed to make money off of fans like really strong emotions.
Okay, so how do they actually back that up?
Well, they bring up some pretty interesting research. Like there's this University of Oxford study that measured fans' cortisol levels during games.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone, right?
Exactly. It's the one that like pumps when we're under pressure. And the study showed that those levels go way up during those critical moments, leading to higher blood pressure and even potential heart problems.
Oh, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah, think about it. A penalty shootout in soccer, a buzzer beater in basketball.
Oh, yeah, your team's whole fate is on the line. Your body's reacting like you're in actual danger.
Exactly. And over time, that kind of stress on your body can lead to real consequences.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's not just about physical health, right?
Right. The author brings up a survey where almost 29% of fans said that their mental health took a hit after their team lost.
So basically, like a third of fans are experiencing real emotional distress just because of a game.
Yeah, it's a lot. And while there isn't a ton of data on sports-related suicides, the author makes the point that we can't ignore the potential for extreme reactions, especially after a crushing loss. It really makes you think about the emotional weight we carry as fans.
Yeah. And then there's the money side of things. We all know it's a huge business, but
Yeah, the numbers are pretty crazy.
yeah. The global sports market was worth over $350 billion in 2021, and they're predicting it'll hit over $700 billion by 2026.
Wow.
The author talks about the European football market as an example. It generated over 35 billion euros in just one season. And get this, Real Madrid became the first club to make more than €1 billion in a single season.
Wow, a billion.
It's mind-blowing. And it makes you ask, who's really benefiting from all that cash?
Right, right.
The author's argument is that while teams and leagues are making bank, a lot of athletes are actually struggling.
So they're saying the system is kind of rigged against the players.
In a way, yeah. You've got all these young athletes betting everything on going pro, skipping college, passing up other chances.
But only a tiny percentage actually make it to the top.
Exactly. And even the ones who do, it can be hard to handle that sudden wealth and fame.
And then what happens after they retire?
That's where it gets really tough. The author mentions this stat that 40% of pro athletes end up bankrupt within 5 years of retiring.
Oh, wow. That's a huge number.
It's a real wake-up call. It makes you wonder if the system is actually built to support the people who make the whole industry possible.
It really makes you think. So we've got this huge money machine, but the author's also saying it comes at a real cost, especially emotionally.
Right. They talk about this win-lose dynamic that's just baked into sports, that constant up and down, the victories and the defeats.
And they say it creates this artificial system where people are stressed out and divided.
Yeah, you're happy one minute, devastated the next, and it just keeps going.
They even compare it to gambling. Like fans are putting their emotional well-being on the line every time they watch a game.
It's an interesting way to look at it, especially when you consider their main argument that the house always wins. The teams, the leagues, the broadcasters, they all profit from how invested fans are.
Right.
And the fans are often the ones left dealing with the emotional fallout.
It's like they're saying we're being exploited.
They actually use that word, exploited, saying fans are seen as consumers, not like stakeholders.
And that their well-being isn't really a priority.
And with all these digital platforms and online stores, it's even easier to turn that fan engagement into profit. We're constantly bombarded with ways to spend money on our favorite teams, merch, subscriptions, you name it.
It's like the whole business model depends on us being hooked, even if it's not good for us.
Right.
And that leads to their big call to action: stop watching sports altogether.
Wow. That's pretty drastic.
It is. They're saying the only way to break free from this system is to to completely disengage. They think sports are just entertainment, not a necessity like food or shelter.
Yeah, I can see their point.
And instead, they encourage us to do sports for the health benefits, to
Yeah.
be active, not just watch passively.
It's definitely something to think about. It's like, are we letting sports control us too much?
I think that's one of the big takeaways here. This deep dive is really pushing us to examine our relationship with sports and and to see that there can be downsides to being a fan. But is walking away really the answer?
Yeah, it's not that simple, is it? There's the social aspect, the traditions, the personal connection we feel. I mean, sports have been part of human culture for ages.
And there are definitely some positive sides too, right?
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into that more in the next part of the deep dive. It's not all doom and gloom, but it's good to be aware of the potential pitfalls. It's interesting though, right? Like stepping away from sports completely, like the author says, it's almost like we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, sports have been around forever. They bring people together, you know.
It's that sense of community, like when your team wins a championship, or how a local sports hero can bring a whole city together. It's powerful. You don't really get that anywhere else.
It's true. And for a lot of people, it's more than just entertainment. It's tied up with family, memories, even their identity.
Exactly. Like I remember watching football every Sunday with my grandfather. It was our thing. And it created a bond that went way beyond the game itself.
Those are the things you can't put a price on. And we can't forget about the athletes themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, their skill, their dedication, the pure athleticism. That's a huge part of what makes sports so captivating.
It's inspiring,
Right.
to see someone performing at that level.
It pushes the limits of what we think is possible, and it can motivate you too, like to strive for your own personal best.
It's not just about individual talent, it's the teamwork too.
Hmm.
A group of people working together towards a common goal.
It's a testament to what you can achieve through collaboration. So yeah, while the author has a point about the commercial side and the potential negatives, we can't dismiss the positive side either.
So how do we make sense of both sides? The exploitation the author talks about, the potential harm,
Yeah.
but also these traditions, the connections, the moments that make us feel good.
It's about finding a way to engage with sports that feels real and healthy. Maybe it starts with being more aware of the business side.
Being more informed, like you said before.
Right. Knowing where our money goes, recognizing the marketing they use to get us to spend more,
And maybe being more picky about who we support.
choosing teams and athletes that actually reflect our values.
Yeah.
Those who show good sportsmanship, who are committed to fairness, who are doing good in the world.
And maybe it's also about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Not letting the outcome of a game control our mood.
Yeah, it's about enjoying the process, the whole journey, not just obsessing over the score.
Right. Remembering that sports are supposed to be fun.
Exactly. And maybe it's also about finding ways to engage beyond just watching.
What do you mean?
Like, what if we focused more on playing ourselves, joining a league, playing with friends, just moving our bodies more?
So we get to experience the benefits firsthand. The exercise, the competition, the teamwork.
And we can still watch the pros, but with a healthier mindset, knowing that our happiness doesn't depend on whether they win or lose.
It's about finding that balance. Passion, but also a little detachment.
Yeah, engagement, but also perspective.
The author did bring up a good point about exploitation, though.
Uh,
Can we really enjoy sports without feeling like we're being taken advantage of?
that's the question, isn't it? And I think it goes back to that idea of conscious consumption.
Being mindful of where we spend our money, supporting organizations that do things the right way.
Exactly. And speaking up, using our voices to push for change in the industry.
What kind of change?
Well, like supporting athletes who speak out against injustice or pushing for better treatment of players, especially the ones who aren't superstars.
Holding teams and leagues accountable for how they do business. Demanding more transparency.
That's it. We have power as fans. We can help shape the sports world, make it a force for good for both the athletes and the fans.
So it's not just about sitting back and accepting things as they are.
No, it's about being active participants, creating a better, fairer, more enjoyable experience for everybody.
I think what's sticking with me is this idea of mindful engagement.
That's perfect.
Not blind fanaticism, but not complete detachment either. Finding that middle ground.
And remembering that sports, at their heart, are about the human spirit.
The drive to push ourselves, the resilience to bounce back, the power of working together.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So how do we bring this deep dive to a close?
We've covered a lot. We looked at the potential downsides, but also the good things about being a sports fan.
Right.
We
Well,
talked about being more aware, more mindful, using our voices for change.
it's been a great discussion. I hope it's given you, the listener, a lot to consider.
It definitely has for me. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few questions. What
Yeah.
really stood out to you from what the author had to say? And what about your own experiences with sports? The good, the bad, all of it.
Yeah. Think about your own relationship with sports.
And maybe the most important question, how can you, the listener, create a healthier, more ethical way of being a sports fan?
It's all about finding that balance where your passion for sports meets your awareness of the bigger picture.
Being a fan in a way that feels right for you, not just going along with whatever the industry throws at you.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, this deep dive was just one person's take. It's up to each of us to decide what being a good fan means.
You get to define it for yourself. What works for you might not work for someone else.
Right, right. Maybe it means setting some limits, how much time you spend, how much money you spend. Or maybe you choose to support those teams and athletes who are doing things the right way.
And maybe it's about shifting your focus. Instead of just fixating on winning or losing, you you appreciate the skill, the effort, the teamwork.
That's it.
Think-
Or even finding ways to connect with sports beyond just watching, like actually playing, getting involved in your community.
So many possibilities.
The main thing is to enjoy it, feel that excitement, that sense of belonging, but without letting it take over or make you feel bad.
Finding that sweet spot. Well, we've come to the end of another deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this one. It's been
Jay.
a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, lots to think about.
I hope it's given you some new ideas about how you can approach sports fandom.
Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's all about what works best for you. Enjoy the games, celebrate the wins, learn from the losses, and most importantly, take care of yourself.
Great advice. Thanks for diving deep with us, and we'll see you next time.